Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshops. My name is Savvy and today we're going to talk about how we can learn to feminize or how we can learn to masculinize our voices using different techniques and theory to explore our voice. So before I get into some theory, I want to preface this with, first of all, sorry for the delay. We had some technical difficulties, but I hope that you will be able to enjoy and learn a lot during the session nonetheless. So happy Easter, everyone. So be sure to get some eggs and get some good time with family. But most importantly, what you want to do here with voice training is keep your voice hydrated. As per usual, when you use your voice, you are using what we call vocal folds, also called vocal cords in a more common language. Now, what's really important with those is that once they start vibrating, they can vibrate sometimes up to hundreds of times per second, opening and closing. So if they're not hydrated, they're going to rub against each other, open and close really quickly whilst being really dry. That can cause potential vocal damage in the long run. So be sure to keep your voice hydrated. Some of you might be taking some medication, such as spironolactone, for hormonal treatment. Just know that that medication is known to be drying to the voice and to the body in general. So be sure that if you do take that medication, you try to work around that and not, work on your voice directly around taking that medication. Similarly, we are in allergy season, hay fever, everyone. I myself am a victim of that. So yeah, hay fever is going to also mess some things up with your voice. And the medication for hay fever generally also, like antihistamines, can also dry up your voice. So it's probably like one of the worst seasons for people like us nowadays. But as you can hear it doesn't prevent us from doing a lot of vocal modulation as long as we remember to hydrate properly and keep our voice in check. Okay? With that said, there's other behaviors such as smoking, drinking, alcohol or coffee, which is also drying to the voice. At the end of the day, body autonomy reigns supreme. You know what's best for your own body, but always be vigilant about how things feel, how your voice sounds, and be sure to just keep hydrated and try to not do drying behavior, whether it's medication or substance related, when you want to do voice training. Try to work around it. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about what voice is about. So very simply put, we base ourselves off the power source filter model. Very simply put, I said that twice already, you push air out from your lungs. Once that air moves up, it reaches your neck, or rather what we call the voice box. That is more specifically called the larynx, and the larynx houses the vocal folds. Now you push that air and the vocal folds vibrate from bottom to top thanks to that airflow that you provide to it. And the faster it vibrates, the higher the pitch. The slower it vibrates, the lower the pitch. And so when you make the vocal folds vibrate, you create what we call the source sound. Okay, so the power powers the source, and the source is the raw sound that will then reverberate and bounce around in this resonant chamber, which we call the vocal tract. Now, the vocal tract is partially the laryngeal space, so anything that's behind the mouth but above the larynx. You'll find the oral space and the nasal space, so nasal cavity, oral cavity. But without getting too technical, just imagine this as like one resonant chamber. You can imagine, for example, a guitar, right? If you have a guitar, you might notice that its body is really big. And it's for a reason. There's a body and a hole so that the sound can go inside it, bounce around it, and thus make a long-lasting note. Our body is similar. Instead of a guitar or the big body of a guitar, we have, well, the mouth space, the nasal space, and the laryngeal space, which allows us to have the sound get some kind of quality, which we will refer to as resonance. And so this is where you can do a lot of vocal modulation. Typically, if your space is really small, then you get a really bright voice. If your space is really big, then you get a really dark voice. And this is generally how you're going to want to modify, or at least it's one of the most important things when it comes to modifying your voice. So all of that, that's the filter. So power, you push air, it makes the vocal folds vibrate. the source is created, the source sound bounces around and gets filtered by how big the space is or how small the space is. And that's basically how voice works in very simple terms. Now, another thing to take into account is that here I don't want to teach you how to sound like exactly like, I don't know, like a Valley Girl or exactly like a hyper Giga Chad when it comes to mask voice. No, when it comes to gender with voice, there's a lot of variety in voices that we can find. So typically, we're going to most likely focus on the biological differences between two different voices. And that goes by looking at what testosterone does to the voice, right? If you want to masculinize your voice, you're going to want to mimic what testosterone does to your voice, namely, if you don't have any testosterone exposure, you're going to want to typically mimic what testosterone does. So testosterone does three main things. The first thing is it will make the vocal tract much bigger, which results into a really dark voice. It will also make the vocal folds vibrate a lot slower, which will result into a lower pitch. And then it will make the vocal folds thicker, right? Making like a more buzzy, more full voice. And this is how testosterone affects your voice, at least during puberty. But we're not all equal to testosterone. You might be, I don't know, like affected by testosterone in other ways in your body, but not be affected with your voice at all. So everyone's body is different. Everyone's hormonal response is very different when it comes to this. So you might have very little testosterone exposure or none at all. And then the behavior that you use for your voice also dictates a lot. Of course, here, if I'm able to do both this like really low buzzy voice and also this voice, that is mostly because, well, we can control those components, which will be the vocal tract size, the vibration rate of the vocal folds, so that's the pitch, and the vocal fold mass, which allows us to get a really buzzy voice or a really soft voice. Okay? Now, with that out of the way, let's get into some practice. As per usual, I'll have up on stage two people who want to masculinize their voices and two people who want to feminize their voices. So I'll get started with voice feminization today. So who might be interested? If you are interested, please raise your hand, jump in place, or use the hand emoji. All right, I think I see someone over here. Arya Goba, do you want to feminize your voice? Yes?
Yeah.
All right, then please come up on stage. Everyone applause to Arya. Hello, hello. Okay, I lost everything. Here is my phone. All right. Nope, don't call anybody. Let's get started. We got we got, let's see, 7 minutes starting from now. Let's go. All right, Arya, hello. First time in one of these workshops?
Yeah, first time here.
Oh, really? Okay, awesome. So what do you know about voice? Have you learned a little bit online? Have you maybe done some stuff with your own voice, perhaps singing or voice acting? You want to let me know about it a bit?
Not too much. Like I've seen some of these classes, like watch some of the streams, watched like a couple YouTube videos, studied music in college, so I guess I know just a bit about that side of things, but not so much the voice specifically.
Okay, so you already have like a little bit of music theory down. Maybe, like at the very least, you know, like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I'm totally off key, but you know, getting like the different pitches and the
Sure.
octaves. Okay, cool. So with that being said, let's see. I want you to give me a slide from your lowest pitch up to your highest pitch. Something like, oh. Give that a try. Okay. F4, very good. Awesome. I don't know if your voice was cutting off here or if it was like noise suppression or not. But
Ran out of breath.
You ran out of breath. It's okay. You did great. So that's a very, very good range. Awesome. Da, F4. So, all right. So you have already a really wide range. Now, I need you to do something just to check that your mic settings are right. Can you say a really quiet hello on a whisper? Something like, hello.
Hello.
Awesome. We should be fine. Now, one way we like to tune our voice is we want, in the case of voice feminization, get a smaller space, right? So how do we get a smaller size? You could go ahead and just go, oh, ah. But if you don't know how to manipulate your resonance, how to make your size change, it's a little bit difficult, right? So one good way to go about this is to generally start with some whispers, just for exploration purposes. Can you say the words pat that cat, but on a really dark whisper? Something like,
Pat that cat.
give it a try.
Pat that cat.
Awesome. And now we're going to make the effort of making that size smaller. By making the size smaller, your voice gets brighter. And when we're using only a whisper, it's almost like saying the whisper goes higher in pitch. It's not entirely accurate, but in a sense, you are shifting to a brighter voice, and you're going to hear steps like this.
Pat, pat.
Pat, pat, pat. With your throat becoming increasingly smaller by raising your Adam's apple. Let's try this together. I go first and you try afterwards.
Pat that cat. Pat, pat.
Pat, 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 pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat. Pat, 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 pat. Pat that cat.
Very good.
Pat, pat, pat.
Pat, pat, pat that cat. And now you have a really bright whisper. You could test them and be like, okay,
Pat that cat. That's a masculine whisper, really dark.
and pat that cat. That's a very feminine whisper, right? It's really bright. It's very small. And you've done that flawlessly. Awesome. Now, I want you to do this in real life. Take your hand. I know I say in real life. Take your hand and put it on your neck gently. Don't push down. Just try to feel for your Adam's apple. It should be like a little bump. It might be more or less prominent, but we all have that bump on our neck. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, I want you to do again that same dark pat to bright pat. And I want you to feel and tell me how the motion felt.
Pat, pat.
Pat, pat, pat. Still your hand. Give it a try.
Pat, 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 pat.
Yeah, it just moves up.
Nice. Awesome. Great. So by moving up, you make the available space in here. I don't know if you see the board here. The available space here becomes smaller and smaller as you move up the Adam's apple. So right now you can't really see it, but you're basically mimicking what you see on the left here by moving the Adam's apple up. It's not entirely accurate, but you get the idea. Okay, awesome. Pat that cat. Now we have a really bright whisper, and you know that you're bringing your Adam's apple up. So I want you to latch onto that feeling and then try to speak up here. Let's do an extra step though. We're going to try and see if we can translate that whisper into what we call a full voice or a modal voice, where the vocal folds vibrate properly and fully. Has the slide loaded for you yet?
Yeah.
Awesome. I want you to take a look here at the closure gradient. Basically, this is what the vocal folds look like if I was to shine a camera down your throat. It can be a little bit gross and disgusting, but I try to leave as many details out as possible. Now, the vocal folds are the little strips of white here, and they open and close every 100 times per second, depending on what pitch you're doing. And so, now when you do a whisper, the vocal folds are open. They don't vibrate, so you only hear the air pass through. Ah, ah. ashes to ashes, pat that cat. Right? As opposed to what you would hear, well, in my voice as I currently speak, ashes to ashes, pat that cat. That would be a balanced voice. Now, our goal will be to go from that whisper state into the breathy state, into the balanced state. Basically, gradually closing the vocal folds. And before we stop, we're going to give it at least a try. So I want you to go back to that bright pat that cat. Mimic after me. Pat, 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 pat.
Pat, 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 pat.
Good. Stay up here. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Now making it extra quiet.
Pat that cat.
Very good. And now make the pat really long. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Careful here. Do you notice? Pat that cat. So what you're doing is your older voice is taking over the behavior again. Pat. Right? It's dropping a little bit. Not extremely dropping. Like you're not going like
Completely dark.
but you are going a little bit darker. So this is important. You want to really keep that airflow steady and listen for the pitch. If you hear like a trail down, then you're letting your Adam's apple drop again. If you want to prevent your Adam's apple from dropping, you can also like put your hand on your neck. Don't hold it in place. It's just like as a way to like see if it's falling or not. You always want to tune your voice via the sound, not by the feeling. The feeling is more like something at the service of the sound, but it should never be the other way around. You're not trying to physically hold your larynx up all the time, right? It wants some movements, especially when it comes to doing different vowel sounds. So now to pat that cat, let's go up here. Pa, 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 pa.
Pat.
Awesome. And now we're going to go into a breathy sound. Do you know what a breathy sound is? It's that middle ground between a whisper and a balanced voice. Can you try and do it?
Pat.
Okay. And now there's an extra step where you want to close the vocal folds even more. So it goes pat. Give it a try.
Pat.
Nice. And from here, pat that cat.
Pat. Pat that cat.
Beautiful. Awesome. Now I want you to give me that sentence up here. I don't know if you can see it quite there. Has it loaded for you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So that, mad rat. So now I want you to say the word that. That.
That.
Try to use less air. Not that, but
That.
okay, that's better. And now we close the vocal folds again. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. There we go. And that's a fem voice. That mad rat sat on that flat mat. The monotone one, of course, you're going to want to break the monotony afterwards. Say something maybe like, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. So maybe you can give that a try. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Give it a try.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Drop the mic. A little bit of a drop on the dark on the end. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. So it got dark at the end. But that first part here, that mad brat sat, that was super femme, really good. Arya, you slayed. That was awesome. So yeah, there you go. That's the steps to go. Then it's a matter of really listening to your voice, to really keeping the space as small as you can, and listening for those like ow. That's when you have like a full voice. or when you do a whisper, right? So you really want to be careful with that, okay? Otherwise, it's really good stuff. Everyone, please give a big round of applause to Arya. You killed it.
Oh, thank you.
Best of luck with your voice practice, Arya, and I'll see you around. All right, next up on stage. You're welcome. Next up on stage, I want someone who wants to learn how to masculinize your voice. Now, I don't see many mask avatars, but maybe I don't know. Maybe there's someone interested. If you want to masculinize your voice, raise your hand, jump in place, or use the hand emoji. If not, maybe you have the never seen, or very rarely seen, rather, I should say, someone who might be interested in like a non-binary androgynous voice. If you're interested, you can raise your hand. And maybe not. Maybe you'll just go for a more femme voice. All right. Who might be interested in feminizing their voices? Okay. I see here Maxine. Have you ever been on stage before? You have been on stage before? Once. Okay. I'm sorry. I would like to have someone who has not been on stage before so that they can have also a chance at this. Vivi, have you been on stage before? Yes? No? All right. Come on. Come up on stage.
Okay.
You got this. Everyone, big applause to Vivi. All right. Hello there. Hi.
Hi.
You're welcome. All right, let's get started. 7 minutes from now. Okay. Hi. Hello. First time in one of these workshops or just first time on stage?
Just first time on stage. I've been here before. Yeah.
Awesome. So let me know a little bit about your vocal journey. What do you know about voice? How well versed are you with modifying your voice? What do you know about it? And what do you do
Well,
with it?
I've done some research and I've been practicing resonance pitch with some exercises that I found on workshops of older recorder events. And yeah, just following exercises like pitch and resonance.
All right, gotcha. Uh,
Yeah.
mhm. Do you already have like a voice work in progress, like one that you can jump to? Like, I don't know, maybe like you're chilling down here and you just like go for, I don't know, this voice or whatever. Like,
Um, well, if I practice a bit, I can like make it higher pitched, but it usually sounds more like monotone as you
that's
commented
fine.
before. Yeah.
I just want to see if you already have something to work out from. Let's hear it.
Um,
No shame in
mm,
trying.
I can try. Yeah. Maybe around here I can make it like more high pitch. Maybe if I practice before.
All right.
Um,
Maybe
yeah.
here. Maybe here if I speak more high pitch, but like
Ah,
but
ah.
so it actually started really well, and then you speak it, and then like it kind of like trails back down to like your mask voice. To
Yeah.
be fair,
Yeah.
your mask voice is not really masculine. No offense, of course, but like, like
Like you could speak like that, but not exactly what you do, right? So I mean,
Uh-huh.
okay. So
Yeah.
let's see. Um, let's really see how far we can boost this. All right, let's try this.
Mhm.
Um, I want you to say, okay, let's just go for a pitch that will be fine for both of us. Give me a slide from your lowest to your highest pitch so I can gauge your range a little bit. Oh,
Oh.
oh, C4, very good.
Oh. Mhm.
Oh, let's go a little bit below. Oh, can you match my pitch here? Ah,
Ah.
very good. Awesome. Let's try and see if we can tune that pitch on the word pat to something a bit darker and a bit brighter. So, can you give
Mhm.
me like an opera voice, like a yawn? Oh, pat that cat.
Oh, pat that cat.
interesting. Oh, pat that cat. So you do brighten your voice a little bit when you get back to speaking. So naturally, your mask voice, or your rather, I wouldn't say it's mask, but it's like your baseline voice, your natural voice, so to say, is already quite bright compared to like a lot of other masculine voices. So yeah,
Interesting.
I would already put you like in a more androgynous resonance range, which is real interesting because I wonder how much brighter you could go from there. Let's see. Maybe it's because the practice has been paying off. Who would have thought? That's crazy. Okay.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. All right, let's see. Now I want you to do the sentence pat that cat on a whisper, and I want you to do it really dark at first.
Really dark. But that cats.
Pat that cat.
Very good. Now let's take that pat. Oop, I bumped into something. I'm alive. All right. Phew.
But
Pat, 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 pat that cat. I'm gonna need you to change some settings really quick on your VR chat settings. Please go to the quick menu,
Oh.
the sound menu, bottom middle, and
Yeah.
you wanna disable noise suppression and
Yeah.
get the the mic activation threshold all the way down to 0%, please.
Yeah, I changed it.
All right, let's try this again.
but
Pat, pat, pat. Very good, nice. Pat that cat. Very good. Now give me this pitch.
Uh,
Very good. We're gonna try to match into that pitch from a really bright pat. So we're gonna do this. First, how you normally do it, like maybe not like oh, but maybe your voice would do it here like
you want me to use?
yeah, just do the pitch. Okay. So
Um,
very good. And now
but that cat.
pa 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 pa. Pat that cat.
as in whisper?
Sorry, that was a bit of a long one. Let's just go directly for the bright pat. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Awesome. Now let's hold the word ah, the sound ah on cat. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Very good. Pat that cat. And now with that same airflow, we're gonna close the vocal folds back. So pat that cat. Pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
Amazing. Beautiful. Okay. Now from here, let's go back to the sentences. I want to hear your voice a little bit in practice. All right. Up here, do you see the board? Do you see the sentences? Yeah. Pat that cat. All right. And from here, same quality, same brightness. Pat that cat. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, very good. Now try to change the intonation here a little bit. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good, and back down. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Oh, careful. Let's go down this time. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that mat flat.
Mat flat, it's okay. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Okay, that's very good. Also, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Compare that to like how you would have said it in your mask voice or natural voice, behavior voice, whatever, your old voice. How would you say it normally?
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
All right, and how you would say it in the fan voice?
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, very good. That mad rat sat on a flat mat. Maybe it is sustaining a little bit too much vocal fold mass. Let's try to make that voice even quieter. Not that mad brat sat, but instead, that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. Awesome. Let's try something that sounds like a more normal intonation. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Careful here on the low pitch. That mad brat. That. Let's make that really bright and really soft. That.
That.
Yes. That
mad brat.
mad.
That mad brat.
Yes. That
sat
mad
on
brat.
that.
Sorry.
That
Go
mad
ahead.
brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, very good. Careful there, just on brat. It got a bit dark, so you did like that mad brat. It was like a little bit bigger, a bigger size. Brat, 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 brats. You can try to tune the
Yeah.
word like brat, 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 or go back to the whisper. Brat, 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 brats.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very nice. Awesome. Woo. Okay, so that's it. That mad brat sat on a flat mat. Sounds great. I would say definitely do be careful with how your resonance can get a little bit iffy and a little bit darker. So typically here your size is dropping to something a bit bigger here. But other than that, yeah, I think you're doing really well when it comes to like speaking monotonously. When I listen to your older voice, your mask voice, quote unquote, trademark, quote unquote. I don't trademark, quote unquote, mask voice, whatever. You get me.
Yeah.
You are so your mask voice starts with different challenges than like I don't know,
Like a mask voice like this, right?
like
Mm-hmm.
your mask voice is not specifically like um super heavy, but it has like a bit of buzziness, especially in how you were like speaking it. You're like, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Right? Like with quite a lot of vocal fold mass. And you remember I was like, oh, try to make your voice less loud, right? Because were kind of like, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. There was like a lot of power behind that voice that
Yeah.
you could attribute to like your lower range and would make sense at lower pitches. But at higher pitches, you might want to, that mad, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, trying to go a little bit quieter. But other than that, that's really good. Yeah, very good stuff here. Do you want to do it once
Great.
more? That mad
Yeah.
brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Okay, so here it's a bit of a lower pitch. Da 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 da. That's fine though. Okay, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. You could go even a little bit softer. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That was perfect. Beautiful. Awesome. Yay. Okay, that's it. So do remember to keep your voice soft. Remember to keep your resonance as bright as possible, or at least not as bright as possible, but careful with the dips in resonance where you can get that mad brat, right? That mad brat.
Yeah.
Still small and bright. But yeah, that's what I would recommend you practice. You did say yourself your voice gets a bit monotonous, and I think it's partially due to the fact that when you use your pitch in different ways, like in kind of like this, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. You have like a lot of variation up and down, and I think that's partially making your voice break up a little bit, like in terms of resonance, and maybe in terms of weight as well. I don't know, I haven't heard your voice enough. But I would
Yeah.
definitely recommend that you try to really challenge your voice to do those inflections, those intonations, those like motions up and down in pitch. You can try to do things like that mad brat sat on that flat mat, going all the way up or going all the way down. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. You know, or doing like low, high, low. That mad brat sat on that flat mat, for example. Right? So attempt those different like emotions and inflections, and you're going to see how it challenges your resonance, how it challenges your vocal tract size. And yeah, do practice, and best of luck with the rest. I bet you're going to get your fem voice goggles in no time. Everyone, please give a big round of applause to Vivi.
Thank you. It was really helpful.
You're welcome. I hope I didn't butcher the name. Was it Vivi or Vive? Whoops. Okay. Vivi, thank you, thank you. Okay, next up, I'll have someone who wants to feminize their voice again. So who might be interested in that? I've seen a few hands raised. That pretzel witch, you've been on stage before? You have been on stage before. Okay, I want to get someone who has not been on stage. Everyone has been on stage here. Old timers only, huh? Okay. Oh, are you pointing towards someone, Sakura? Who that's?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm I'm looking to the left only. Mastery system, yes. You want to practice your voice? Right, come up on stage. Come on, come on, come on. All right, everyone, please give a big round of applause to Mastery System. Hello, welcome to Mastery System. All right, systems are all functional. Hello. You might unmute your mic. Okay, let's get started. Hello, we got 7 minutes starting now. Hi, hello, welcome. First time here?
I've watched for a few times now, but this is the first time I've come up on stage.
All right, hello, welcome. I'm glad you had the courage to move up here. First time on stage, but what do you know about a voice? Or rather, more important, what's your experience of your own voice? Have you done any singing, voice acting, or any work on your own voice before?
I've roleplayed in D&D for about several years now, so I do have some mastery of my voice, not really any singing. It doesn't help that I'm very nervous too, so...
It's okay. It's okay. They do not exist. They are only a figment of your imagination. It's okay. They're just NPCs, you know. Roll for initiative. Wait, what? Okay. You're fine. Okay. So, let's see. So experience with D&D and I suppose acting different characters, either as the player or as the GM, you get to do a lot of different voices, and that is really awesome. So I'm glad you do that because it's giving you like a lot of brain to voice connection, kind of like a positive feedback loop. The more you do things with your voice, crazy or not, whether you sound like, you know, like Gollum or I don't know, like different weird characters, well, you get more stuff done with your voice. Also, let's see. How about you give me a slide from your lowest pitch up to your highest pitch? Something like, oh. All the way up to G4. And like a G2. Okay, wow, 2 octaves. All right, awesome. So we got quite some range. Okay, very good. Can you match my pitch here? Okay, that's almost 1 octave higher. Let's try it again. I think you're overshooting a little bit. Okay, let's try a different one. Try to match my pitch here. Yeah, okay. From here. Da da da. Okay, you got it now. A3 again. No, we had it. No, pitch is so hard. Okay, it's fine, it's fine. We're fine. All right, let's try this now. Okay, I want you to give me a whisper. Oh, and make sure that your settings are set properly. So please go to your sound settings, disable noise suppression, and put the mic activation threshold all the way down to 0%. Is that all done?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, now give me a really gentle whisper on pat that cat. Pat that cat. Oh, interesting. Pat that cat. So you do make it brighter. Interesting. Good. Now I want you to give me a slide from the darkest pat to the brightest pat that you can do. Pat, 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 very good. Try not to press the whisper too much. Not pat, but pat. Use the minimum amount of air. Very good. Okay. And now I want you to try and bridge that closure, or sorry, bridge that bright whisper into a bright full voice. So, okay, and from here, pat that cat.
Pat. Pat. Pat that cat. Why is...
Okay, let's talk about what's happening here. You're achieving this voice, pat that cat. And you notice that this voice lacks some texture, some fullness. And that is actually fairly normal. We have different modes in which the vocal folds can vibrate. For example, if I'm speaking down here, I'm using what we call the modal voice. So it's what we would also refer to as M1. Now, if I go to a higher pitch, and you might hear a break if I go up like, right? That voice break we call in singing theory passaggio. And so that passaggio is some kind of bifurcation event. Don't get too technical, but basically the vocal folds pretty much change their vibration pattern completely. You go from like a full-bodied, fully involved sound where the vocal folds fully close in and fully open back. And then you go into or okay, it's easier if I add more vocal fold mass to portray it. You might have had that jump in your voice before, perhaps. Are you familiar with that? Okay, now it's quite happening in your voice, so you're having a really good coordination here. I don't know, like, you know, like when you're like a teenager and you're like, oh no, I don't know what's happening with my voice. Oh no, the testosterone. Oh no, help. Right? So that's a voice break, or that's going a lot between those voice breaks. And so you're switching really quickly. No, your voice is not broken. Don't be silly. The M2 mechanism is used a lot for singing. It's used a lot in voice acting, and some would say it's also used a lot just to speak with a femme voice. It's just that you have to learn how to make it sound nice. It's just one sound that can be a bit more difficult to create. Generally, when I like to refer to M2, you might have heard the singing theory term called falsetto for it, or head voice. I don't really like those terms because they kind of have like some implications of, you know, falsetto means it's a fake voice. Not really. What is head voice? It's a voice that rings in the head. What does that mean, you know? But really, you hear that when you have like a full M1 voice, you get like just a full sound. But when you are like in M2, you get like this more empty, more hollow sound, right? And so that's what you are getting when you go to those higher pitches. So this is why I want you to really match those lower pitches, because when we are at lower pitches, it gets a lot easier to find more of that vocal fold mass, to get more of that fullness in the sound, okay? Now let's try the following. I want you to match my pitch here. So you're here. Okay, do it again. Now you're here. Again. Yes, and then let's step up. Yes, now we're synchronized. Very good. Again, the last pitch. You're a little bit higher. Again. Again. Oh, you're doing you're moving up. Okay, now you're doing are you controlling this, or are you trying to adjust to get to the pitch?
I'm trying to adjust to get to the pitch.
Okay, you already were on the pitch. Yes, here we go. Let's try this. Yes, that's very good.
Again.
Yes, very good. Now you're building muscle memory to achieve that that pitch reliably, right? You might have noticed it's easier for us to match our pitches when we are at lower pitches. Maybe because that's where you spend most time using your voice, right? So it's easier for you to mimic a pitch that you often use in your day-to-day life voice. But
If you speak like down here all the time, and then when you're asked to do
in a voice that you don't generally use, then it gets a bit more tricky. So really,
This is my normal voice, yeah.
exactly.
I don't know what I would call normal anyways around this place, but hey.
So yeah, you understand this. So now again, yes. See, you're getting more and more accurate. Right. Awesome. Very good. These things take time. They take some practice time, of course, to get right. But you're doing great here. With the time allotted, I think we've done great. So from here, we're gonna want to close the vocal folds on that pitch. So, pats, pats, pats.
Pats, pats, pats.
Very good. Pat.
Pat.
A little bit too high. Da 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 da. Yes, very good. And now try this. Completely into the whisper. Now listen to the whisper at the end. It's not as bright as right? So you can do that. Then scale the whisper. And then do the other way around. Give it a try. You didn't take the time to go fully into the whisper. You want to hear the whisper so you know where you are in terms of brightness. Okay, so that's a really good full voice to breathy to whisper, back to breathy, back to full voice, but you're not using the time in the whisper to scale your voice. That would be the objective here. So you're doing pat that cat. Give it a try. Okay, so pitch accuracy seems to be getting tricky when it comes to bridging into the whispers. That's okay. It takes some time. As we saw before, you struggle a little bit with reaching those pitches directly, reliably. So it's no wonder why those whispers kind of impose a pitch on your voice rather than the other way around. So that's something for you to practice with. I would recommend getting like a pitch monitoring app. like Nail the Pitch, Voice Tool, or Vocal Pitch Monitor. If you're on Android, I really recommend this one. It just gives you just the pitch. This one kind of gives you a range. It's more for, I would say, advanced practice, or, I mean, you got to know how to use this to get into this. But anyways, Vocal Pitch Monitor, do you use Android?
Yes.
Okay, so vocal pitch monitor is really good. It just gives you one straight line, or depending on how you hold a pitch. And so you can really use this to match like the pitch before and after, and also has like a little record button. So I really recommend it for you to practice. Other than that, it seems that naturally when you go to higher pitches, you have two scenarios. One is where your voice kind of like gets into like this kind of like a really weak spot where like it kind of sounds a bit too hollow, right? That's that M2 scenario where your vocal folds are a little bit too disengaged and they're not full enough. But as we scaled our pitch up, da 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 da, you notice we have already a more full sound. Now by default, you already can bridge from M1 to M2 without any break. You're not doing right? So you're doing a slow and steady slide up into higher pitch, which is really good. So you have good control of that. Now, what I would say you would have to really focus on here is trying to get that whisper into the right pitch that you want or that you're aiming for. For this, I'd recommend the app. But yeah, other than that, when you get to higher pitches, you seem to naturally kind of already make your size smaller, which is, well, what we want, right? You want that smaller size to get that more feminine voice. I mean, if we just go for that pitch, again. Okay, now we're a little bit too high. But as we had it before, like yeah, okay. So your voice does get a little bit weak here. Try this. Try to get a bit of a fuller sound. Okay. So there's quite a lot to practice with here. I just want to let you know about what is happening here. You're going high in pitch, a little bit too high to the point where like you struggle to find vocal fold mass. So your voice like really weak, right? And so like you only get like this kind of sound quality, but you want more vocal fold mass to like have a voice that has like more texture. Again, there's also like being on stage and being stressed, so that doesn't really help. So I'm sure that in like a more private setting, it will be easier for you. No questions asked. And yeah, what I would recommend is typically try to practice your voice at lower pitches. Higher pitches, whilst they seem to help you with your resonance, help you get a brighter voice, they also seem to, well, kind of lock you in that really weak and soft voice that's a little bit too soft. So I would recommend like you try to practice at lower pitches that are still in a feminine range. So pitches such as, pitches such as like F3 or G3 or A3 that you're going to find here. So it's like F, G, A, B, C. Yeah, music theory is weird. So you go like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I'm probably not on tune, but you get the idea. Right? And always start from a lower pitch, right? Because the lower pitch is pretty much guaranteed to ground you into a more textured, fuller sound, right? So, right? So that's what I would recommend. Yeah, exactly. What's that pitch here? That's a D sharp 3, see? Now let me show you something interesting. The pitch you just did, G sharp 3. I'm gonna do the exact same pitch, but in M2. M1, M2. Same pitch. You hear the jump every time, right? It's because there is a sudden, drastic vocal fold mass change, a mechanism change between the two. To put in very simple terms, because I don't want to get too technical with that. But basically, yeah, that's what is happening. So when you aim for that high pitch, you end up going into that that M2 sound, when instead you would want to go into that M1 fuller sound that allows for more expressiveness, right? So starting from the bottom, now we're here. Starting from the bottom, you can get here, no problem. All right, very good practice, Mastery. Best of luck with your practice in the future. I'm sure you'll get your results in no time. Just take the time to sit down for like 5 minutes in front of that pitch monitoring software. Try to do the things we did here on stage in a more private and more cozy setting, and I'm sure you'll be able to get it in no time. All right,
Okay,
everyone,
thank you.
please give a big round of applause to Mastery for her courage. Woo! Wow! I can only clap and yay at the same time. Okay, all right, awesome. So. All right, I think this workshop will be a shorter one. We did start very late, and notices were a little bit iffy, but you know, we did get some good work, good voice work done today. So I think we're gonna call it here for today. I'll be answering some questions from Twitch and from Discord. So Rory, if you will please let me know if there's any questions. I am listening. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll take a question. I'll take a question in the audience in the meantime. Yes, Marina, you have a question?
Yeah, I don't really drink water, but I drink lots of vitamin water. Is that also good, or?
I suppose vitamin water is just fine. I mean, like, as long as you're not drinking only soda or only coffee, you know that vitamin water is, at the end of the day, still mostly water, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, vitamin water is just fine. No worries.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I guess not. Do we have people? Oh, Maxine, maybe you had a question? I don't know. Yes?
Any recommendation on good training for the voice?
Can you just get a little bit closer, please?
Training for the voice, good ways to train, to practice.
Training for the voice both ways practice. I'm not sure I understand your question.
If there is a good recommendation, a way to practice the voice other than use. Doing the
Are you asking like for a recommendation on how to practice your voice?
yes.
Yes. Okay. How do you practice your voice, everyone? Well, I think there's two main ways you want to look at this. One, there's like the cozy, like private setting where you're just you and your voice. You get like Audacity up or Vocal Pitch Monitor, whatever your app of recording is preferred, and some pitch monitoring app because that can always help you. And just sit down. And then you press record. Not for 5 minutes, not for 10 minutes, no, for 5 seconds. You press record, you attempt your goal voice, you stop, you listen back. What does it sound like? Does it sound bright? Does it sound high enough in pitch? Do I hear drops and resonance? Stuff like that. Ask yourself these questions. And once you listen back, you're gonna be saying something like, "Oof, I don't like that," or "Oh, I like that." I know it's hard at the start for some of us, especially with dysphoria, to see past through that, but it's best to try and go for like more objective qualities. It's not bad sounding, it's darker. It's not horrible, it's just maybe a little bit too low in pitch. It's not horrendous, it's just a little bit too heavy, right? So trying to like put words and little tags on your voice helps you then modulate it in the right way. For example, what if I attempt to feminize my voice starting from here?
That mad brat sounded like flat mat.
I pressed record for 5 seconds, and now it's playing back to me again.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, that's very masculine. It's really heavy, it's really dark, and it's low in pitch. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Not ideal. I would bring my pitch up. Well, I pressed play. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. I listen back. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. It's already getting better, but it's not quite there, right? That mad brat sat on that flat mat. So I'm like, okay, that's a bit too dark. And then I can try and make that brighter. I would also recommend you record the steps in between that allow you to reach your voice so that you can like really pay attention to if your steps are done correctly. So if you do something like pat, 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 pat that cat. And then you're like, okay, I did everything right. It should sound fine, right? I listen back. What happened? Right? I let my resonance drop and I'm able to hear it, right? So then I have like a recording proof that I went darker and I know there is an issue with that specific part, right? So there is that first part, practicing on your own. Once you get to a satisfying enough point where you feel like your voice is steady enough, you can try to speak with other people in Discord or in real life if you're daring enough to do that, and just use your voice. Not for 5 minutes, not for 10 minutes, for 5 seconds. And you repeat that process until you can go on for longer and longer times, right? So you might take some breaks, you know? Maybe it's like, I'm gonna use my fem voice. Hi. Unmute. Hi, everyone. Mute. Oh, that was so hard. Let's do this again. How is everyone doing today? Unmute. How is everyone doing today? And maybe if you're daring, you don't even mute again and you try to like hold it there and then try to answer the next question with it. And if it breaks, it's okay. Mute. You're in control of your own space, especially online. So you can try it again. And this is kind of like testing your voice on longer periods of times. It's a bit difficult, but that's also part of the practice. So there is practice by using it, and there's practice by, you know, recording and really focusing on the different qualities, right? So this is active practice, what we do here with the software, recording ourselves, asking ourselves the right questions and answering them with our technical knowledge of the voice, and then doing more passive training where right now as I'm speaking, I'm not thinking all the time about my resonance or what it's doing, right? That would be too much work. I would have to think on my voice and think of everyone else's voices and our theory, and no. Eventually, those things subside into your muscle memory and become normalized. So that's how you want to practice your voice, whether it's feminizing it or masculinizing it. Both ways, you want to have time by yourself for focused, active practice, and times with others where you just do passive practice. Or maybe you can, if you don't want to speak to people, you can just like read something or try to mimic someone's voice, you know, like something where you think less, but you just use your voice. Okay? That was a really lengthy answer, but I hope it helps you out. Awesome. Yes, Rory. Okay, breathiness at higher pitches. Oh no, I'm so breathy. What can I do? Breathiness is a process that happens when you get your vocal folds in a certain way that they cannot withstand the amount of air that is given to them. So either you're pushing too much air from your lungs or your vocal folds are too open and they just let the air pass through. There's two ways to go about this. The first way is you try to close the vocal folds more. Then, if you kept the same airflow, if you push as much air as before, then you get a louder, more powerful voice where the vocal folds now match the intensity of the air that we provide to them. So here, what I did here is what we call a glottal attack. I slam the vocal folds together by doing ah, ah, ah. It helps them close. Another way to go about this is to do the cree sound. So creak or vocal fry is a sound where the vocal folds are really closed and there's like barely a few bubbles of air passing through them. Right? It's a really slow vibration, but one that guarantees a lot of closure whilst staying really relaxed, right? So doing creak might not help you directly, but knowing how to go towards creak by practicing something like gives you the kind of like muscle memory of how you can close the vocal folds on command, right? So that's one way to go about this. Okay. So you can close the vocal folds like that, or by doing the global attack. If none of these things work, you can always try and reduce the airflow used, right? Because maybe at the end of the day, you're just pushing too much air and it's too much for your vocal folds to handle. Especially at higher pitches, we're tempted to go louder, stronger. We have this mindset of, I want to push past the frontier, right? But when it comes to higher pitches, you're vibrating the vocal folds like sometimes 200, 300, 400 times per second. For the even higher pitches, it can be like 500 opening and closing per second. So it's really intense. And if you struggle with higher pitches in the first place, especially if they are too breathy, then you're going to want to, well, be less intense, at least at the start when you are exploring that range, right? So do breathing exercises, just like meditation. Breathe in for 1 second, breathe out for 1 second. That's all of my air. Breathe in for 2 seconds, breathe out for 2 seconds. That's all of my air. But it takes longer times. And the longer it takes, breathe in for, I don't know, 10 seconds. Breathe out for 10 seconds. The rate of air is a lot slower, and that teaches you how to modulate the rate of air. And you want to make sure that you use like a really slow rate of air. You can actually go as far as pushing your air out so slow that it's completely silent. That's when you really know you have a really good control of your airflow, because you're not depending on the vocal fold closure anymore, but more so on like your diaphragm and like a bunch of different muscles that are responsible for pushing or holding the air in. But yeah, that's how you would go about achieving higher pitches. Start slow, try to use less air. If that doesn't work, try to close the vocal folds more, explore with creak, and explore with global attacks. Global attack. Get familiar with creak and how it feels to achieve that full closure, or reduce the airflow from to right, and thus you can try onset a voice that uses much less air. Okay, I hope that answers your question. All right, so that will be it for questions today. I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you everyone for showing up today. Sorry for the technical difficulties. First time it happens. I hope it will not happen in the future. But don't worry. As long as we can get you to practice your voices, I'm happy, and I hope you are happy as well. So hey, blurble of the end. My name is Savvy. I teach voice feminization lessons and
Voice masculinization lessons. Yeah, whatever. Hyper Chad.
I also do stuff such as beatboxing, such as so if you want to learn any of that, I teach lessons on my own Discord server called Scientifically Augmented Voice. You can join the Discord server at this link, but let's be honest, it's easier if you just click on my avatar above my head and just join the Discord from there. Other than that, I'm also on Discord, just like Savvy_Sav. Just make it
in all small letters, savvy_sav. I teach lessons there if you want to know about my rates and about more lesson information. Let me know over there. So yeah, I hope you all had a wonderful workshop today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Easter. Stay safe. Please enjoy your holidays. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye Twitch. Bye Discord.